Well, today we have a great lineup of guests. We've got exhibitors from Sony, Matrox, Source Distribution, Resolve Optics, and others, of course. As always, we're heavily monitoring Twitter. If you've got any questions you want us to put towards some of our guests, then please tweet us at Broadcast Show, and we'll do our very best to get them answered throughout the show. We've had a great morning here at BVE. We've spoken to lots of exhibitors, and now there are even more here with us in the studio. We'll be talking to them across the next few hours. Don't forget to tune in after the show. There's a little bit of a special show coming up for you. We're calling it, what are we calling it? The Only Way is XL. We've got Sarah and Heather coming, and they'll be taking over the show for a whole hour. They started yesterday. They were so popular, we've given them a whole hour slot, and that'll be after the show. So make sure you stay on and see what's going on. Well, we have Will with us. Hello, Will.
Hello.
Threw you in it then, just going through your notes.
Yeah, it's all on the fly.
It's all, of course, it's
hot off the press.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
You've been wandering the show all day today.
I have. Collecting
useful pieces of nuggets of news for us. How's it been? What you've seen?
Yeah, well, it's been really busy. You can see just by looking around the volume of people. I've tried to pick up as interesting things as I can. I mean, it's not a newsworthy show in the IBC or NAB sense. You know, people aren't launching big products, but that's not to say there's not interesting things to see. I was on the Sony stand this morning. They've got a full range of their 4K cameras. There's a lot of attention. A lot of people like to touch cameras. People touching the F55 and just fitting that, but really a lot of emphasis on the PVM X300 monitor. One of the things with 4K is there's a lack of affordable 4K monitoring out in the market. There's another option there, so that's pretty interesting.
Yep.
There's things like that, you know, so we're talking about enhancements rather than innovations, I would say.
Sure. So obviously 4K's been fairly big in the show from what you've seen so far.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, 3D, without being rude, is a little bit last week.
Yeah.
4K is what people are talking about at that end of the market. Is it viable? Do we need it? Should we just skip to 8K? You know, there's a lot of talk like that, but there is now practical technology available, down to and including, what did I see this morning? The 4A stand.
Yep.
I've got a super slow-mo camera, 4K, 900 frames per second. You know, we're getting to that level of technology now. So definitely 4K is a theme, a lot of stuff going on, and I think, if I'm honest about it, much more practical as a revolution than 3D was going to be.
Sure. Another thing that happens here at BVE, obviously, is seminars. I'm just wondering if you've been to see or had a look, see what sort of seminars there's going around here. Yeah,
to be fair, the production theatre in particular has been really busy. I mean, yesterday was a really interesting session with James Brabazon, the freelance journalist and filmmaker. Tips on staying alive, really, in hostile environments. That was fascinating. This morning, Emma Riley from the Technopolis, super indie, she was talking about how to make money out of your archive. And you think, well, you know, there's many ways to skin a cat, but they're talking about YouTube channels and production music libraries. I mean, that's fascinating stuff. So it's very practical stuff, and I think that's really important. BVE is a practical show.
Sure. Now you're with us tomorrow as well, and you also write for TV Bay magazine as well.
I do, that's right.
Worth mentioning, so we can get articles from yourself there. And again, you're going to give us another quick 2-minute slot at the beginning of tomorrow's show.
Certainly will.
So we're going to send you off.
Thank you.
And find out some more for us for tomorrow's show. Brilliant. Thanks very much.
Okay, no problem.
Take care. So we're going to get our first guest up. Come on over, sir. Yeah. Hello. Well, what he's done is he's switched your mic off there because he's thinking he's being professional.
Again, hi, John.
There you go. Hi, Nicol. How are you doing?
Good. How are you?
Yeah, excellent. Now, if people don't know, you're from Teradek.
That's right.
And I think it's important that, first of all, we tell them a little bit about Teradek and what it is that you guys, what solutions you try to solve with your products.
Okay. So, if you don't know Teradek, we're the makers of the Cube.
Yep.
Quite a popular little device with a great emphasis on wireless video.
Yep.
It's a H.264 encoder, which means it compresses the video and then it transmits this over IP.
Yep.
In one of 3 different interfaces, either Wi-Fi, it's built-in Wi-Fi, or Ethernet, or even 3G or 4G. So the Cube is very popular. It's used in many different applications. from cinema, where you can just use it for monitoring, or broadcast television. You can use it to send over bonded 3G or 4G interfaces, or even webcasting. So the Cube is a very versatile. It's sort of the Swiss Army knife of video encoders.
Sure.
It's quite small. It's got a built-in battery. Works on any camera, be it composite, HDMI, or HDI. So it's quite a popular device.
It is, and for those who don't know, some people think that a 3G bonded solution to send video from your camera is something large and bulky. It's certainly not with you guys, is it? I mean, you've got these are different versions of Teradek equipment, but they're roughly the same sort of size that you've got.
Right, it's literally the size of a deck of cards or a box of cigarettes, depending what your devices are. So the Cube is a box of cards, and the Bolt is another box of cards. And Bond is the one that adds 5 or 6 different cellular modems to the Cube. And then we have a free software product called Sputnik that aggregates all these different streams back to one again.
Right.
It can then be used to go into a TV station or straight to the web, whatever.
So I've been following Teradek for a while, and obviously you had the Cube out, but you're always innovating. It seems like every 6 months there's something new from Teradek. Right. Now I'm eagerly looking at what you've got here on the. So what do we have here to look at?
So there's 2 new widgets here that I want to share with you guys. So there's lots of different flavors of Cube by now. There's lots of different versions of Cube. We keep on innovating that. But we brought out 2 new devices. This one is called Bolt. And the reason why this is called Bolt is because it's really, really fast.
Right, okay.
So the one critique that some of our customers have had to Cube over the years was there's a little delay on it.
Sure.
And that's just the nature of H.264 encoding. Yeah. But for certain applications, that's just not going to work. No. If you have, say, a remote follow focus application for a Steadicam operator or something like that, he really needs the video to be 0 delay. And so that's the problem that Bolt solves. It's still a wireless transmitter. It's designed with very much the same form factor and workflows in mind as the Cube. But this one being uncompressed, it's 0 delay. It's still got a great range. You get about 100 meters of wireless range. Yep. But it's literally 0 delay that you add to it.
I'm trying to get this right. You can put one of these on your camera, and then a receiver somewhere, let's say at our studio, and you can get 100 meter range, but with 0 latency.
That's right.
Out of one of these little units.
That's right.
So I know a couple of guys who fly quadricopters and things like this, and so this is ideal for that sort of thing, isn't it?
It's definitely quadricopters is one of those applications that this could be targeted at. The Cube is actually very successful in that application as well, because unlike this device, the Cube allows you to replace the external antennas with something that might be more powerful, more directional, to extend your range. So for example, we just had someone share this with us on Twitter yesterday. We didn't even know the guy was doing this. He was broadcasting live across what seems like it's a lake somewhere in Switzerland. Okay. He had internet connection on one side and not on the other side. Right. But he just used a little parabolic antenna on his Cube, and he went across that lake for a 2-mile reach to the internet connection on the other side, and he was broadcasting live using that. So unfortunately with Bolt, having built-in antennas, you cannot extend the range. So the Cube might be better for the helicopter guys. This is specifically sort of for the cinema guys, or in an application like what you have here, where you have multiple cameras and you need to retain the sync between a wired and a wireless camera.
So separate to this, when I do a streaming job, and a lot of the time we're not talking huge venues like this. We might have a control room here, and 20 feet on the other side is guys just wanting to wander around. This is a perfect solution to that. They can have one of these and just be and wander around. Then you've got 0 latency. You're still in sync with your audio. Right. It could be coming in through a separate feed, knowing that you haven't got a second or so delay with this unit. Amazing thing, and small. Small
and very cost effective.
Yeah, absolutely. While I've got it here, is this available to order now?
This is available to order. It's shipping to most countries. We don't have the certification in Japan and Korea yet, but it's shipping to Europe, it's shipping to the UK, and it's doing really well in the US.
Brilliant.
It's off to a good start.
Excellent. I'm looking at other units here now as well. What do we have here?
Okay, so this is another spin-off, if we can call that, from the Cube. This is called VideoSys. And this guy is specifically targeted for only one of those applications of webcasting.
Right.
Live streaming straight to an internet audience. So, like I mentioned earlier, Cube is sort of the Swiss Army knife.
Yeah.
You can maybe think of this guy as a sushi knife.
Okay.
It only does one thing,
Sure.
but it does it really, really well. The challenge with the Cube is because it has so many different options.
Yeah.
For the novice, it's really overwhelming to configure all those different options.
Yep.
And to go live to the web straight from, say,
Sure.
HDMI camera.
Yep.
So with video, we focused only on the webcasting. We removed all the other options. We gave it a great iOS application with a nice user interface. It's very intuitive. It's very simple to use.
Yep.
And we also put in some really, really powerful advanced features in here, like adaptive bitrate.
Yep.
And it's got a bandwidth test capability built into it that will automatically recommend the ideal resolution and bitrate to start off with.
Yep.
But then if your network deteriorates during the event, the encoder will automatically adjust the target bitrate
Right.
to follow
Understood.
that encoder, the network as it goes up and goes down. So it's same built-in lithium-ion battery,
Yep.
so it will give you about 2 hours of operation. Built-in 2.4 and 5 gig Wi-Fi.
Right.
Support for Ethernet, so if you can hardline it, that's always going to be the most
Sure.
reliable. And support for 3G or 4G over a USB.
So configuring this, we can configure this to stream to different service providers.
Correct. This is unlocked. So by default, it comes with API level integration to
Yep.
use stream and live stream.
Okay.
And that's really, really simple. So if you're new to the world of webcasting, you just use one of those two. It's very
Yep.
simple. But if you are a little bit more sophisticated, this is not going to hold you back. You can manually configure any
Right.
RTMP interface. Say you're setting up your own browser server or something like that. You can configure this to point to that. You can configure it to point straight to Akamai or Limelight, any one of those.
So unlike perhaps some other boxes we've seen, this thing is unrestricted. You can use this for anybody who wants to stream RTMP streaming.
Correct.
basically.
Just about the only limitation that this guy has is that it's HDMI
Yep.
only and not SDI.
Very impressive. Availability?
It will ship before the end of March.
Yep.
About 500 quid.
Brilliant. I'm very impressed as always.
Thank you.
Nicol, thank you for coming on and showing these.
You're welcome.
If people want to find out some more information, is there a website they can go to?
Yeah, Teradek.com.
Teradek.com. And if you're watching this live and you want to go and see them at the stand, you're here obviously for the rest of the day and tomorrow.
Right.
Do you know what stand you are?
I don't know the number, but we're in the Holden stand. It's a big
You
stand
can't-
right in the middle
you're right,
of
you can't miss the
of
Holden stand.
You can't miss it. There are a distributor in the UK, so please drop by and say hi.
I will send people your way if they start asking. Nicol, thank you very much for coming. Much appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you.
Here we go. We're going to run through. Oh, he's taking it away. Oh. I was hoping he might have forgotten that and left it here, but no, come on in. We're throwing the guests in. Hello, Wayne. Good to see you again.
Hey John, how's it going?
Yeah, very good. I'm just going to check they left your mic switch. They switch it off as they go off every time.
Hey John, how's it going?
I'm very good, mate. I'm very good. And we had a little chat yesterday about particular Matrix products. Today, I think we'll just have a little chat.
Sure.
Should we do that?
Yeah.
Now,
What's it called? A chinwag?
a chinwag over here. I say it will be. Let's have a chinwag. Now, we had Will on, and he's had a little walk round, and he's saying that 4K is big here.
Oh yeah.
Now, that's got to have an impact on Matrox.
Yes.
And what's your thoughts at the moment on 4K? Let's go with that one.
Well, it's certainly the new buzz.
Yeah.
I think it's even more exciting than 3D. But there's going to be a transition period.
Yeah.
It's kind of out of the reach of the mainstream. The majority of videographer content creators. But I see it, maybe as the prices will decline or come down,
Yep.
and more people will end up, being able to afford the high def or 4K cameras.
Yep.
And then at that point, I see it kind of being like about 10 years ago or so when when high def was introduced. So everybody was shooting in high def,
Yeah.
and then they were doing like their post, but they were using a pan and scan, being selective,
Yep.
cropping and stuff
Yep.
like that, and then delivering standard def. So I think that's how 4K is going to be. They're going to shoot in 4K.
Yep.
Customers, the consumers such as ourselves at home, we don't have a way to receive.
No, that's it, yeah.
The infrastructure is being set up as Red's come out with a delivery method.
Yep.
Sony's announced a new delivery method, but I see it for foreseeable future. acquire 4K. Then you do that technique of spanning and scanning, being selective. Like we were saying, deliver in 1080. And then you could maybe make an archive version of the 4K and then deliver in the very near future. We don't know how long that timeline is, but then you have a backup in full 4K.
So as far as hardware goes, certainly for the acquisition side of it as well, I mean, you've got these massive 4K files, you've got 4K cameras and things, you've got to get this into your system, and then you've got to edit it, and then you've got to be able to view what you're editing. Right. So you're Matrox, so this is something you guys hopefully know a little bit about. This is your
well,
bag.
I think we're all like studying the workflow, and one thing is very evident: 4K will be a file-based. It won't be. They're going to record to the various video recorders. The Sony's got their own recorders. There's many, a multitude of people creating recorders from ProRes and that. And so I think the key here is going to be monitoring. So when you get into editing, how will I monitor 4K? How do I monitor on set 4K to the cameras and that? I think that's where let's say the pain point or the the workflow hole at the moment, because 4K monitors, when they were first introduced, they were $50,000. They're down to like $30,000 now. And before they become very popular or attainable,
absolutely,
they're going to have to come way down. And I think at that point, when they come way down, is when people who are sitting, watching this, there's some people here that are interested in 4K and delivering 4K and working in 4K, but I'm talking about the people that are watching this that will be consuming 4K in the future. Once it becomes affordable to them, then it will take off like high def has just recently.
So on the editing side, I mean, I personally haven't ever tried to edit any 4K footage myself. The system that you have to edit on surely has to be somewhat of a monster itself. It has to have a lot of capabilities.
Well, that's where I think where you get into RAW, and then compressed codecs such as ProRes and Sony's new XAVC. RAW, it's a beast. So typically a RAW workflow is to go into an intermediate codec such as ProRes. And then you're online or offline, if you will, with ProRes, and then you go back to your to delivery in your format if you want. Machines today are like 32 core. Intel has like dual CPUs that are 32 cores. Intel has, they're always giving you a peek at their roadmap. So any time now, I expect CPUs with like dual CPUs to offer 48 cores in the system. I think that's maybe when it'll become almost as we're accustomed to now in a high def and real-time editing in the intermediate codecs, and possibly in RAW. I mean, it's untested and unproven yet. At least I haven't personally been able or been exposed to 48 core stuff and trying to do RAW. But I don't see it as a leap, like a huge leap to one day in the very near future we should be able to edit real time 4K.
So, I mean, it's going to be an interesting thing to keep an eye on where this goes. As you say, it's the same with 3D a long time ago. People are looking at wonder where 3D is going to go, and it's like, as you say, I think we all say it's a bit of old school now, and now 4K is the thing to watch. From Matrox's point of view, obviously you guys are going to keep an eye on it and focused on it, and you've got a product range that will move with 4K.
Pardon me?
Your product range as far as is that going to move with 4K? You're going the idea is to keep.
We've been in business a very long time. We're closing. I think we just completed our 37th year. So we're almost at 4 decades. The winters in Canada are pretty long, so we're always in hibernation mode, and we're always looking at again holes to fill in workflows. Where the trends are, and we're always developing our own IP and new technologies. So it's something that's on our radar, and we're just we never rush something, like trying to develop and mature and massage a product, and when it comes to market, it's something that's tried, tested, and works. Across the board, an acceptable workflow for everybody, not just I don't mean to use words or allude to anybody, but some of the workflows that are out there are kind of kludgy, and I have to go here and do this and then go over here and do that and then back and forth and all these tools, which are, it's because it's an infancy stage, and it had to be like that. And now as it matures and, and morphs, it becomes a standard. And I think we're on that cusp now.
Brilliant. Now, if we want to send people your way at the show, to go and talk to you about this more and obviously look at all the Matrox stuff that you got up there, you are currently over that way somewhere. Do you know what stand number?
I think we're stand F21.
F21, if not, of course, they can find you on the map. And if they want to find out more information about Matrox as a whole, do you have a website they can go to?
matrox.com/video.
Brilliant, Wayne. Thank you very much for coming on, giving us some insight into what you think with 4K. It's great.
It's a pleasure, John.
Brilliant.
Cheers.
Thank you very much. I'll
Thank you.
Take the mic off you as you walk off. Thank you. Brilliant. Cheers, buddy. Bye-bye. I've had a look at the Matrox stand, and they've always got a fascinating kit to look at. And they say they're always moving forwards and keeping up with the times, which is great. Now we're just getting ready for our next guest, which is Rod from Rotolight. He's on his way with props, I see. Coming in. Hi, Rod.
How are you doing?
Good, good. Here we go. Let me give you that.
Thanks very much.
Now, this is the first time we've met, isn't it?
It is, yes.
I've met your dad a few times.
You have?
But I haven't ever met yourself.
Pleasure.
So, Rod from Rotolight.
Absolutely.
Thank you for coming on at such short notice.
My pleasure.
That's much appreciated.
No problem at all.
For a start, let's just do a quick introduction. Tell us a little bit about Rotolight, what it is that you guys supply and invent for people.
Absolutely. So Rotolight is a British LED lighting company. All the products are made at Pinewood Film Studios, so heart of the British film industry.
Yep.
And we really tried to do something a bit different, be very innovative with the technology. So we have an on-camera lighting range of products for E&G use.
Yep.
And then we have a range of studio lighting products, both for fixed studio installation and also for outside broadcast, used by the likes of Tom Hanks, BBC, etc.
Yep.
And very innovative in terms of what we're doing.
So, I mean, the one thing you notice about your lights is they seem to be slightly different shape to most other people's lighting systems. Tell us a bit about the one you got here.
Absolutely. So this is the Rotolight Innova, and
Yep.
you mentioned the shape. That round signature lighting effect gives us that classic ring light, even though it's
Yep.
effectively a studio floodlight. Now, this is called the Rotolight Innova, and it's a 1,000-watt bi-color LED floodlight, but it only draws 38 watts of power.
Right.
So it's 93% more efficient than a typical hot light.
Yep.
So there's no heat, very portable, and consequently what that means is if you're running on, say, a 90 kilowatt-hour standard V-mount battery, you can use Sony PAG, anything that you have, Anton Bauer.
Yep.
You'd get 3 hours at 100% power,
Wow.
whereas typically the competition on the same battery would be about 45 minutes or so. If you're using a 160, you'd be running the whole day at 100%, no problem at all. Now, in addition to that, the light has DMX as standard.
Right.
Includes the battery plate as standard. There's no extra charge. Includes a full set of pre-made filters. But the really exciting aspect of this is, in addition to quite a unique beam angle, so it's 110-degree spread as opposed to typically 55, so it's very soft.
Yep.
It's also the world's first Wi-Fi enabled studio light.
Wi-Fi enabled.
So I can control this light from my iPhone, so I don't know if the camera can see this, but I can brighten the light directly from my iPhone. And actually, as you see, I'm controlling that light there. Now, I actually get a real-time display of the color temperature live on my phone.
Okay.
Real time, so I can make adjustments. If I'm on outside broadcast, I can see the ambient color temperature is changing.
Sure.
I can match that to a 10-degree Kelvin accuracy. Now, if I've got multiple lights, we even have a DMX lighting desk built into the app, where I can control up to 256 lights at the same time.
Okay.
And if you have any other existing lighting, be it Kino Flow, like we have here, or light panels, anything with a DMX output, you can actually take a DMX cable from the third-party light into the back of the Rotolight and control their light from the iPhone.
So it acts as a kind of a DMX hub.
DMX master, effectively.
Yeah.
So, if you've already got existing lighting technology, but you're looking to integrate Rotolight, it can help integrate the whole studio and control the whole thing from one device without any extra cost.
So you could say that if a studio is looking, I just love this, but I've got 4 or 5 lights that I like, I don't really want to have to go and spend the cost of replacing them all. they can start off and work their way up, gradually adding in, just by plugging the DMX into one of these, you've got control of those lights.
Exactly that. So it really helps integrate the entire studio, but in a very innovative way. So this is already being used by CNN, ESPN, BBC on some outside broadcast work, and we just did a big shoot actually, which was covered in the print edition of TV Bay with McLaren Formula One. Right. And there's a great article on which you can probably read online, I imagine. I suspect you could. With a link to the video, so you can see the end results.
So, and that's just been in TV Bay, hasn't it? So
it's in this month's edition, actually, the February edition. Yeah.
So this is the big light that you do now. I've heard that you can. Am I right or wrong that you can do a white balance sort of measure of some kind?
Yes.
With these?
So in addition to everything we've talked about so far, there is also one additional feature, which is that we have a patent on this technology, and basically we teamed up with Apple, and we're able, using the iPhone, to actually take a measurement of the ambient color temperature in terms of Kelvin, and take a measurement of the brightness in terms of lux, sample it, send that setting to the light, and it replicates it. Wow. Now, why you want to do that? Let's say you're on location, and you have another crew doing green screen at the same time, which is very common in the film industry. The location crew could sample that color temperature, and we provide a standard gray card that you hold up to the subject, take a measurement. You could be on the other side of the world, text that setting to the studio, and with one click you've matched the location lighting. Right. So you get that consistency between your location and studio, which is can spend hours to do. It's really time consuming, it's the first time it's ever been done, it's a feature that's built into the app, and that's coming out very shortly as a free update to the app.
Fantastic. Now, we've just got a quick question, of course, they've asked on Twitter, so I've just had it in my ear. One thing asking, how much? How much,
well, compared to the other LED fixtures on the market, it's very competitively priced. Bear in mind it's entirely British made. Yep. So it's 1,699 plus VAT. Yep. Now that's for everything. So that includes the barn doors, that includes a custom flight case, includes filters, includes the battery plates, the DMX, the whole thing. That's everything included. And that's called the Rotolight Nova Pro Kit. That's available from the likes of Visual Impact, CDP, etc.
So just confirm that's £1,699 for the lot.
For the whole thing.
Everything you need.
Everything you need. Wi-Fi, everything. Yeah.
Amazing. Well, thank you very much for coming on. Let us know. If people want to find you here at the show, we're obviously live, and they want to come and see you. You're here today and tomorrow.
We are here both days.
Whereabouts will we find you?
We're actually on a few different locations. So we're on the Porterbury stand, who makes some nice accessories for the lights. And we're also on the Park Camera stand right by the entrance. And of course, Rotolight.com.
Yeah, I was just about to ask you for the website. You've got there first. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate you coming on, showing us the light. That's great. Thank you. Take care. Absolutely amazing light. Never seen anything like it, I have to say. Well, hello Marcus. How you doing? Good to see you.
Fine. Good to see you.
We are going through, we've got Marcus here from Sony.
Yes.
And we're using Sony mics.
Yeah, we're using Sony mics. It's great.
Now, let's have a little chat about a few things. One thing, obviously, we're using wireless systems. Sony well known for doing a great range of wireless systems. Things have changed a lot over the past 12 months as far as certainly the spectrum is concerned.
Yeah, the frequency.
Yeah. Give us a little overview of what's happened as far as the frequency spectrum is concerned. How's that impacting mics, and what's Sony's solution to this?
Yeah, it is a decision of the European Broadcast Union together with the ITU to sell all the old frequencies, which is channel 67 to 69, was used by the UK, and it's sold to telecom guys like Vodafone or whatever, Orange, to use for 4G or LTE, what we say, the long-term evolution. And I think the auction is stopped, it's ready. Yep. So the frequencies are sold, and in the next time these new transmission system will be switched on.
Right, so anybody who's got something in these old frequency ranges is going to struggle.
Yeah, it will simply not work. Right. You hear noise, that's all.
And so what's the solution to this? Obviously, they need to look at sorting out their kit, and how does Sony help out with this?
You have to change the frequency range where your wireless system works, and different solution in different countries in Europe. The UK changed to channel 33 to 38, and again, there's another change which goes then from 39 to 48. Right. So you need to change the filters in your wireless system, or if it's very old, or if it's not possible of your wireless system, you have to buy a new one.
So the bands that we've been allocated now, are they the sort of the same width as maybe before, or are they a little bit? I've heard that we've got a little bit less.
Overall, yeah. Overall, the bandwidth you can use now in UK is a little bit bigger than before on paper.
Yep.
But in real is that there's a lot of DVB-T, the digital video terrestrial broadcasting is there. So in the end, it is smaller than before because we are not alone there. We have to share the frequency range with the digital terrestrial television.
Okay. So your systems obviously now work all in the new ranges that's allocated to us. Give us some idea of the sort of ranges of systems that you guys.
Yeah, as we discussed this, it changed in Europe on different frequencies. So what we produce is 5 different versions in 5 different frequencies. 3 of them you can use in the UK, and the other is for other European countries. It's the channel 33 version, the channel 38 version, and the channel 42 version, which you get in license from the Ofcom guys to use in the UK.
So we're using UWP systems here.
Yeah.
And whereabouts does that sit in your range of systems that you've got?
It's in the middle of the range. So we have a DWZ series, a low price series, which is 2.4 gigahertz, more for musicians or Congress Center, city halls. The UWP especially is for the part where you move around because the receivers are mobile receivers. So this is really for ENG videographers.
Gotcha.
Something like this.
And then if you were doing sort of more fixed installation, studio installations?
Oh yeah, that's the DWX series, which is a full digital system, which is, let's say, the high end of our range, which we use in BBC or in theaters, opera houses, companies like this.
And so the higher end system, this is a digital system. Explain, if people don't know, the difference between the digital and a non-digital system. What are the benefits of the digital system?
The digital system gives you a simple, much better audio quality.
Okay.
The analog doing some special compression on the audio part to bring in this small bench which we can use the transmission inside. And the digital is free of this. So you have full frequency range and full dynamic. Right.
Now, you're here obviously at the show. You've got a great stand over there. We went and had a look around a bit earlier. If you can remember, do you remember the stand's number? I'm trying to see
the stand number. This is a good question. The stand number, I think it's B40. If not, look for the Sony logo. You will find it.
You can't miss it.
You can't miss that.
Yeah, absolutely. If you are here and you want to go and have a look at all the wireless kit, Sony have let's say a reasonably large stand up in the middle of the show. Go and have a look. If they want to find out more about perhaps they need to upgrade their kit or they need to get their kit adjusted and they've got a Sony kit, there can be. Is there a website they can go to and find this information out?
Yes, it's on the Sony Pro website, so www.sony.eu, and then go on the professional site. Brilliant. And you find it in different languages with all the information.
Marcus, thank you very much. It's been very helpful. Much appreciate you coming on and talking to us about it. That's great.
Thanks.
Thank you.
See you.
Take care. Bye-bye. So, if you are stuck with an old Channel 69 piece of kit or something, definitely go and have a chat with Sony. They've certainly helped us out. I've used Sony kit for a long time and found it fantastic. Now, Sony are wireless solutions, and so we're going to have a little chat while we're on the theme of mics with Alex here. Hello, Alex from Source Distribution.
Very nice to meet you. Hello.
And you. Let's talk a little bit about microphones in general. The T-shirt gives it away a little bit.
Yes.
And we're going to talk about a particular brand at the moment. Let's have a talk about, because you're one of the main distributors for Rode microphones. Tell us first of all a little bit about Rode, what their ethos is.
It's a studio brand basically, so it's been around for a long time. They first started out adapting other people's microphones and actually then came up with designs of their own.
Right.
A while ago, Rode moved all their sort of construction and R&D to Australia. So actually, Rode mics are sort of developed and actually built in Oz, in a place called Silverwater near Sydney. So they use kind of a lot of technology, kind of stuff that is used to make sort of Swiss watches, that sort of stuff. Really sort of winding their own, building their own components, and they do it all in-house. So and they have studio mics basically. That was their original thing.
Right.
But over the years, DSLRs came in, and actually Rode have ended up producing a bunch of microphones which are designed for DSLR users. And since things have kind of moved on further, a lot of us have iPhones, and actually a couple of the products we've got are are iPhone, smartphone products. So things that you use on your phone, not just your DSLR.
So no longer are they just doing your typical studio mic that you thought of. They've gone into the actual. I can't remember what Rode mic it was, but it was seen just about on every DSLR you could possibly imagine.
Yeah, like the video mic.
The Rode video mic. That's
exactly,
the one that people think of.
Video mic's usually popular, and there's now a Video Mic Pro, which is kind of custom made for DSLRs, basically. Yeah.
So if people don't know, you've got bits here. We'll have a look at that in a minute. We'll have a look at that in a minute. They do the video mic sort of range that you fit on. It's great for DSLRs. They're also well known for doing shotgun mics.
Yeah, that's right.
So tell us a bit about the range of shotgun.
Yeah, well, we've got the NTG 1 and 2, which are kind of the same sort of mic. The NTG 2 can take a AA battery, so you can power it for about 60 hours on battery. It's super useful. And then we've got the NTG 3, which is basically a kind of more, maybe a little bit more sort of hi-fi kind of sound. It's got really flattering sound. It's also RF biased, so if you're, if you have trouble with interference from mobile phones, radio signals, also if you go into the jungle or something, Borneo, and you've got a lot of humidity, RF bias condensers are far better at resisting the effects of humidity, and so there's that. And recently there's a mic called the NTG8, which is this super long stun baton.
It's not small, is it?
It's not. It doubles as a sort of weapon to protect yourself in the field.
What we're talking about is obviously the NTG8 is quite a new mic. I mean, it is very long. Is it therefore very directional?
It is, yeah. So the physics of the beast is the longer the mic, the more directional it is. So the NTG8 would allow you to kind of get usable audio in a noisy film set, or if you really want to focus in on an actor when there's tons of stuff going on around, basically.
Gotcha.
That's what it's there for.
So I've got to ask, what's in your bag?
What's my bits?
What's your bits? Tell us about your bits.
This might be a little. If I can get you to hold my mic,
we can.
This is a two-handed job. This thing's called an IXY. It's a stereo microphone which is designed to be used with an iPhone. I don't know if we can see this, but yeah, literally plugs into an iPhone 4 or 4S or an iPad 1, 2, 3. There will be a version which will support the iPhone 5 like Lightning connector, but basically it is literally just a stereo mic that you plug into a phone, and you can just record straight into your iPhone. And kind of the key thing with the IXY is you can record 24-bit 96K, which has never been possible with a plug-in accessory before, so it's kind of a premium iPhone recorder, basically.
So explain to me the mic layout on here.
So it's an XY is basically describes the pattern. It's a coincident pair. So these microphones cross over perfectly. So whereas when you have separated microphones, the sound waves are reaching the different mics at different times. That can cause phase issues. So this tends to be very forgiving. You don't get the sort of strange kind of loss of signal, kind of weird whiffly sound. And then there's some interesting stuff you can do since you're plugging your microphone into a very intelligent device. The iPhone allows you, the app allows you to record, obviously, but you can also edit, trim, and overdub. You can actually, there are two versions of the app that we have. There's a free version, which is free, lets you record at 96K. There's a paid-for version, which is about $3.99, and actually lets you add effects, so you can do some processing. And you can actually append bumpers to the start and end of the recording. So if you wanted to make like a podcast and had your own little intro, you can actually make a whole podcast on an iPhone, and then you can upload to SoundCloud, and with the paid version you can upload to Dropbox right from the phone. So it's very neat.
Very impressive. I haven't seen that one before. What's the availability of it?
It's available now. The fellows at Production Gear have got IXYs here. They're at stand H54, and yeah, they're available now. So yeah,
and that's you even got a little windshield that goes on it as well.
You actually get a couple of accessories. You get a little a foam cover which you can put on, which is obviously very helpful if you've got you speak right into it. Helps against pops. And you also get a little holder basically, so you can just clip this on. So it's very sort of robust.
Excellent. So basically, just turns your iPhone into a portable
professional recorder. Yeah, exactly.
Brilliant. Now, if people want to find out some more, they can come and see you.
This is right. Yeah, we're at stand D62. We're also premiering there's another little thing called the Smart Lav, which is basically a lavalier where I'm right now.
Oh, you got one?
Yeah, it's kind of secret squirrel. It's a lavalier which you can also plug straight into an iPhone. We have this on demo too. You actually can also plug it into an Android phone too. So yeah, just plug in. Doesn't require phantom power. I'm trying to flip it back. But yeah, it doesn't require phantom power. You can just plug it straight into a phone, which is super convenient.
And again, they can come and see that on your stand?
Yeah, D62.
D62.
Or roadmic.com.
Brilliant. So roadmic.com, if they can't get to the show and you want to come and have a look, then go to roadmic.com.
This is it.
And if you're at the show, go and look for the Source Distribution stand, and they'll find you there with this and, of course, lots of other kit as well.
Lab and loads of shotguns and all the stuff we talked about.
Brilliant. Alex, thank you very much for coming on. Much appreciated.
I'll give you this back.
Yeah, I'll swap you. There we go. Source Distribution have been very helpful, and they've supplied us with all sorts of kit over the past 6 months. We're actually going through Presonus Mixer, which they are a distributor through as well. So thank you very much for them. Come on in. Here's John. Hi, John.
Hello, John.
Good to see you.
Okay, yeah, and you?
Now, we're going to talk comms a bit, I believe.
We are. Talkback systems.
Talkback systems.
Yes.
I've got a basic thing in my ear. You do a little bit more sophisticated than what we're using here on this particular show. Now, tell us first a little bit about Trilogy Communications, where you come from, the sort of things you do, and then I'm going to ask you a particular question about some installations you've done recently.
Okay, Trilogy is over 25 years old now.
Yeah.
We're based in Andover in Hampshire, and we do intercom talkback systems for, well, international broadcast market. Absolutely anyone, OB vans, studios, post-production. We also do a video sync pulse generator as well. Strange combination of an audio product and a video product, but those are our two lines.
Gotcha. Now, so people, hopefully know what a talkback system is, but it's important to understand how these things are installed, what you've got to think about while you're installing and choosing your talkback system. Now, you've done one recently for the Royal Opera House, I understand.
We have.
Explain the sort of installation that you were asked to put in there.
The Royal Opera House was pretty unique to us. It's the biggest opera house in the UK, if not the world. We've worked with them many years ago on a TV-based intercom system down in the basement, but they wanted to replace the entire show production intercom. So that goes all the way from backstage with the radios, with the operators and all the staff, so that the ballet or opera goes on very, very smoothly. And we work with them to use our new Gemini Matrix intercom. We made them some customised, ruggedised talkback boxes, which go up in the roof in the place called the Flies, and another half dozen panels, and it all integrates into their existing system.
So, I mean, it's not your standard studio environment to install something. What sort of things did you have to think about when you install in something like the Royal Opera House?
Yeah, we had to use their existing cabling, which is something like 25-year-old multi-core cables, partly because they had a very, very short 2-week installation period, which they call their dark period. It only shuts for the year in those 2 weeks. So we had to get all ready for it. They had to practice with it and get used to it. It was installed within those 2 weeks using the old cabling, so we had to work out the voltage would work, the communications would work. We also used some of our IP connected touch panels, which made it able to have a desk that disappears during the show. So it's de-rigged during the show, so that was part of the system.
So, all in all, they're obviously happy with it. I'm trying to. You mentioned ruggedized, having to have ruggedized belt packs. I've done quite a lot of stuff in theatre. I can understand why you need ruggedized belt packs. It's not your typical studio environment. So if people are interested in having an installation done, so obviously they can go to you guys and ask you for advice on how you do it, what they're doing. How has the show been for you here? Have people been up and talking to you?
Yeah, it's actually been very good. I was surprised. It's the first year, obviously, at the Excel. We've done 3 years at the previous venue. We were concerned that people just wouldn't come here, but yesterday, the opening day, very good, and today is built up to be just as good, so we're well impressed. Yeah, I've certainly noticed it's busy today. I mean, it was busy yesterday, but today it seems to have gone up a level even more. Yeah. You're going to be at NAB? Trilogy is using the UK TI, the UK Trade and Industry stand. So we'll be there, 2 of my colleagues will be there for contacts, looking around, building up the business. And we're also having some equipment on the Nevion stand. Oh, okay. So we'll be there, but not as ourselves. Sure. So you'll have a presence there. But if people want to come and find out more, I'm going to test you on your stand number, see whether you know what it is. What's your stand number? Our stand number here is G32. Excellent. So if you're here, if you're in the show, or if you're coming later on today or tomorrow, then
go and find Jon at their stand. If not, and they want to find out some more, what's your website?
www. Trilogy Comms, all in one word with two M's on the comms, trilogycomms.com.
Brilliant, Jon. Thank you very much. Very interesting to hear about. I do lots of stuff with theatres, and I'm amazed that you managed to get something working, and that's brilliant. So thank you very much for coming on, Jon. Cheers. So, yeah, in a theatre, a system like that, I was quite impressed. In 2 weeks as well. Amazing. So, who's my next guest then? Let's find out. We are searching for Den Lennie. He's going to be on his way any minute now. We'll just keep a wait for him. Now, well, this is a 2-hour live show. I'm just going to say that after the show, we do have our special behind the scenes, what we're calling it, the Only Way is XL show, which is done by Sarah and Heather. That will be directly after this. In the meantime,
hello, mate.
Hello, we've got Dan here. Right, Dan. I was here. Have a mic.
Thank you.
I didn't expect you to be turning up.
Well, I just came to see Stuart to talk about Marshall monitors, and then you guys said, "Do you want to jump in?" Because we've got slots. So very happy to jump in.
They like doing that to me.
That's fine.
I get a little thing.
Shall I give you a break?
No, it's fine. Den, so you're walking around having a look.
Yeah, I've just come in for the day. I was doing a talk for Zeiss lenses earlier, and I'm just having a wander around and just seeing what I can see if there's anything new, and just figure out what's going on. I like this new venue. It's nice.
It's not bad, is it?
Yeah.
Now, if people don't know, you better tell them a little bit about F-Stop Academy, as we've got you here, and you seem bright and proper, doesn't it?
So, my name is Den Lennie. I run F-Stop Academy, which is an online filmmaking resource. We split our business into 3 ways. 30% of my time is DPing commercials, music videos, and dramas. 30% of my time is done teaching live hands-on workshops. We do very intensive small group, sort of transformational filmmaking workshops, no more than 6 people at a time in a room. A lot of focus on lighting, a lot of focus on shooting and creating a great frame, and then we do a lot of online training as well.
Sure. So I mean, I've certainly seen Philip Bloom's done stuff with F-Stop. What sort of thing can we find as far as the training on your system?
So we started with the whole DSLR craze back in 2009, and Philip did a couple of tutorials for us. I mean, the whole idea of Den Lennie's F-Stop Academy is not Den Lennie, but it's that academy of excellence where we bring in the sort of very best people in the industry to produce content, and we manage the whole sort of production business side of it for them, because a lot of creative people just want to shoot. So we help people kind of get the information that's required, pass that out to the mass market, if you like. And then I've just started doing a lot of one-to-one and small group workshops to kind of pass on some of my knowledge to them.
Brilliant. Now, as we've got you here, you've walked around the show a bit today. Anything sort of caught your eye?
Well, first of all, it's a new venue.
It is.
And it feels really nice to be somewhere new. It feels very spacious, so that's good. Lots of great facilities here. It feels like everyone's a lot more relaxed here. I think there's more floor space, so everyone feels more relaxed. So you can spend more time dwelling on stands. The Marshall monitors are always worth looking at. I mean, I'm a huge fan of them. And I think, good on-set monitoring is vital, especially with some of the new camcorders coming into the market. And I think the thing that I'm always trying to kind of pass on to my students is that all the cameras are good enough now. They're all good enough. But try not to think too much about the camera. Think about lenses, think about monitoring, think about great support, think about great lighting. Facilitate yourself with tools that will last you a good 5 to 10 years, because the chances are you'll change your camera 3 or 4 times in that period. And I think things like what you guys are doing with this is trying to just educate the market to understanding that there is a lot of choice, but at the same time, understanding where to spend your money, because it's very easy to spend a lot of money on the wrong things. And that one of the challenges that we're facing, and we're very regularly being told by customers, is that there's so much information online, it's confusing. So having a trusted source of good information is really important. So I think anyone who's looking to buy gear should just choose a source and stick to it.
Before I let you go, looking forward over this next year, anything you think we should be keeping an eye on?
Well,
here, testing you now.
I think 4K is definitely maturing at a very fast pace. I'm particularly interested in 4K. I was never really into 3D.
No.
I think 4K as a viewing experience is far more immersive because you're just able to see so much more detail. Sure. So I think 4K is very interesting. I think storage solutions for that data, I'm an Apple user, so I've been using Final Cut X for quite some time. I think it's fantastic. I've kind of gotten over the learning curve.
Sure.
But the big thing is data. If you're starting to shoot in 4K and RAW, you need so much more storage. And so I think looking to archiving solutions will be interesting. Affordable archiving solutions. A lot of stuff that's out there is very enterprise-based, but what about the small company, the small production company, the single-person user who's generating a lot of RAW or 4K content? You're going to need more than a kind of desktop drive for that. So I think that'll be an interesting space if manufacturers want to start, thinking about how to adapt that.
Brilliant, great. Den, thank you very much for coming on.
You're welcome.
Much appreciated. If people want to find out more, what's your website?
They can find me at fstopacademy.com.
Brilliant, Den. Thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of the show.
Thanks, mate.
And we're going to grab our next guest. Den, thank you. Take your bag with you. Cheers, mate. So that was Den. Go and have a look at F-Stop Academy. It is an absolutely fantastic resource for everything filmmaking. And we are at the moment just going to get our next guest lined up. And he's been on here before. He kissed me live on air yesterday, and he's back again. and actually, in case you didn't know this, where obviously people are watching us and they're tweeting, and it has, we've had a number of tweets that said the guy from Polcam should have his own show.
Really?
Really? It's a bit worrying. I'm trying to tell him he already has. It's called Broadcast Show. He's nearly there.
Oh well, I'm honoured.
So they were really
good. So they liked my surf report.
It must have been the surf report that did it. Absolutely. Steffan, thank you for coming on.
No, pleasure to be back.
We've talked Polcam.
We've talked high speed.
We've talked high speed. We're going to talk zoom lens cameras, mini cams. Tell us about this one.
The cameras, as you know, they're getting smaller and smaller. Yeah. But one of the biggest problems that we've had for a long, long time is that all of these cameras, we're all using prime lenses, but there have been no zoom lenses. Yeah. And unless you're going for a big lens.
Yep.
And this has taken a long time, designing lenses, building lenses. It's not so much of a black art, it just takes a long time. And this has been nearly 5 years in the making, but we have here a 10 times full tracking, full HD zoom lens.
Wow.
And it's really strange. It's opening up a whole new raft of opportunities for us, not just in broadcast.
So what sort of people would use a lens system like this on a
in the broadcast game, we're looking at the mini cam people, whether it's on a remote head or even as a static, because once you've got a prime lens and you've cut to that shot 3 or 4 times, you might be bored of it. So the ability to not only change the framing, but also add the zooming into it's going to make a big difference. So Rock and Roll Tour, you've got a mini cam above a drum stack. Now you can zoom in a bit. You can do lovely pull focuses from the cymbals into the drummer's face, this sort of thing.
So this can get, what's the range of this zoom again on this particular model?
So on a 1/3 inch camera, based like this is an 8 to 80 millimeter.
Right.
But with a wide angle adapter that we do, that's on your Polcam up there, takes it down to a 4 to 40. And that's really quite a wide field of view for such a small lens.
So this is the lens that we've currently got with the wide angle adapter on our Polcam at the moment?
No.
No? Okay.
No, you've got the wide angle adapter, but you've got the Camera Core camera on there, which has got a built-in zoom system.
Gotcha.
That's a single chip, 1/3 inch. Here we're triple chip.
Right. Okay.
But what makes this even more interesting is people go, well, you're stuck. You're a prism camera, 1/3 inch. The way the design has been done, very clever. The rear element is removable here and can be interchanged, so it can go from 1/3 to 2/3 inch. Okay. And there's a raft of 2/3 inch single chip cameras coming onto the market now, whether it be Medusa, IndyCam, LMP, LMC with their Antelope Pico, another little tiny high-speed camera. And these guys they're all looking for zoom lenses. We've got industrial people now looking at using these. We've just sold one to a company that does oil survey exploration, and it's going in a housing at 2,000 meters.
Right, wow, that's impressive. So you can, with the interchangeable rear of this, you're not stuck with a particular system when you get this. You could buy the lens, and you've got flexibility of what camera it goes onto.
It's not a cheap lens.
No,
for an HD zoom lens, £5,500 is quite an investment for in the minicam game. So if you need a second zoom lens for a different camera, to have to spend that again makes it difficult. But to be able to just spend a fraction of that, £1,200, to buy a second element to make the one lens work for different cameras is cost effective. And I think that's what's so important that manufacturers need to understand today. They've got to understand, you know, the world is in a bit of a recession. TV's still going to be there, but budgets are being cut. So we've got to be clever. We've got to be more savvy. We've got to make products that suit the customer.
Gotcha. So we're just getting people on Twitter asking just for sort of clarification of cost on this again. So if people want to buy the lens system, what's the cost?
The lens is £5,500.
Yep.
And the rear element, £1,200. Yep. And if you want the 0.5 times wide angle adapter, which is a full HD, genuine full zoom through, to a lot of these, that's £700.
Gotcha.
And all of these are available from us at Polcam.
So if they want to come and see it and they're at the show, they come to your stand, you've got it all set up there, they can come and have a look.
Absolutely.
I'm going to test you on your stand number now. Do you know which one it is?
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not.
Of course I do, it's G16.
I mean, I'm impressed, but it's not difficult to find because you have a floating balloon.
We do indeed.
Right above it. So all they have to do is look up and they see Polcam.
Big Air Star balloon with Polcam.
There it is.
Camera core and IndyCam all over it.
Up there and
so yes, no, we're really pleased. So we've got this on a bench so that you can get up close and personal with it, looking at a nice flower display. And we've got it on the end of a 26-foot 7th Heaven Polcam system as well.
Fantastic. Now, if people are not able to get to the show and want to find out a bit more about this, obviously you have a great facility that people can contact you and come and visit and see what's going on. And if they want to contact you, what's the best website to get you on?
Polcam.com.
Would you believe it? So simple.
Simple as that.
Steffan, thank you very much.
No,
looks like an amazing
It's my
camera.
pleasure. Can I just say, what a great job you've been doing as well. You've been working really hard, and so's the whole team.
It's a team effort,
It's a really good. I think you've done a fantastic job. I think everyone's worked great, and you've made this show a lot more fun and a lot more exciting.
That's what we want to do. Steffan, thank you very much.
Not a problem at all.
Much appreciated. Cheers. Take care, mate.
Thanks very much indeed.
So yeah, go and have a look if you can at the Polcam stand if you're around. It's great fun. Come and sit in, John. We're just lining up our next guest now. We're moving them in and out, and it's just like a conveyor belt of interesting people to talk to. And I'm just going to hand John. Hello, John.
Hi, how are you doing?
Not too bad. So you're from RTS?
Yes.
And
nice to meet you.
Good to see you again. Now, in case people don't know, first tell us a bit about RTS and what you provide.
RTS, we're known very much as RTS or RTS Telex. We've been in the comms business since 1936.
Right.
So very much an industry leader.
Yep. Now, you've kindly lent us some talkback kit,
absolutely,
which we've been using to great effect throughout the show. So I'll just explain what we're doing. We've been roaming the whole of this hall, which is not a small hall, shall we say, doing interviews, and my crew have all had talkback all the way back to this stand, which is the kit that you provided, and it's working absolutely brilliantly, I have to say. Explain what it is that we've got here and where you would sort of use that sort of kit.
Sure. You have a BTR 800 UHF base station.
Yep.
And you're also using TR80 belt packs, PH88 headsets, and range of antennas. We've located the antenna into good sight lines, so coverage as expected right across the hall.
Yeah, it has been amazing. The good thing is if obviously the hall here is massively full of radio interference and all sort of things, but we simply changed channels and thought, oh, there we go, and we got clear. You've got the multi-channel. It works really nicely.
Absolutely, and it represents kind of UHF use in the real world, and much busier environments. I mean, if you look at the past 12 months, so we've had Queen's birthday, the Olympics, sporting events, concerts, God knows what, 2013, 2014, 2015 throws at us. And you do need a wireless comm system which is mission critical. It has to work regardless of situation, regardless of technical issues, crowds, RF, and so on. And we're lucky we have probably the best user group in the world.
Sure.
It's something we're obviously very proud of.
So we've got ours set up in a fairly basic configuration. What are the sort of options that you can have with a com system like this?
You can have, obviously we do a complete range of matrices, which can go from 16 ports up to many, many hundreds of ports. They can be on a fiber ring, they're on Ethernet, we have MADI. We can have a system called trunking, which allows another matrix to talk to another matrix, thus expanding it further. Voice over IP, which is very popular nowadays. And very soon at NAB, we will be basically going into a full high-quality program-based IP solution, which will allow you to have highest quality audio to be available via a LAN to remote key positions, wherever you wish. So very much the future.
Yeah, absolutely. So you can go from a very simple system that we're running here up to something cutting edge all the way up, massive installations.
Absolutely, and one of the joys of our job. I also want to mention the UK technical support we have, which is Debbie Jackson and Jeff Rogers. It's always a real pleasure seeing the challenges and the operational issues that we're provided to solve.
Gotcha.
And it's something I'm very proud of. I'm a relative newcomer to RTS. The level of technical support and the way our users are looked after is something I must admit I'm very, very proud and excited to be associated with. Brilliant.
Now I'm getting questions in my ear from Twitter.
Okay.
One question was, as far as the RF frequency range is concerned, is there a license-free option? Is it purely licensed?
For UHF, it is licensed. So basically all the UK bands, but of course there is some debate regarding C6.
Sure.
Migrating into A2 for the UK now. But we have both available, obviously, while the country makes up its mind. We also do have a 2.4 gigahertz kind of Wi-Fi based solution, which is called BTR 240. So yes, both systems are available. In terms of the family components on the base stations, so it's 2-wire, 4-wire interfacing, dual channels, if you like, build and integrity of the products. That remains the same between UHF or Wi-Fi.
Gotcha.
So really, it's down to application, what serves
so
best.
You mentioned 2 and 4-wire. If you've got a installation in there and you want to add to that installation without having to rip it out, and you want to add some of the radio comms in there, you can mix your communication systems with something that's already installed?
Very easy. I mean, all of our matrices, for example, are 4-wire. So for talking to a BTR, I mean 800 or a 240 or a BTR 700 and so on, 4-wire to 4-wire, so it's a port talking to the base station. That's it. If you have a system which is 2-wire, we do a range of 2-wire and 4-wire adapters.
Gotcha.
Bidirectional, yes.
Brilliant.
Of course.
Brilliant. So if people want to find out a bit more, I've asked this of everybody. Obviously, the show's going on today and tomorrow. People want to come and see you. Whereabouts will they find you?
Well, we are on stand KO3, and we'd love to talk to you. And we'll stand ready to answer any questions you have and see if we can help you further.
And if they can't find you, they're right next to us, aren't you?
Absolutely.
If people can't make
it here, folks.
You did.
Right next to
TV Bone Broadcast Show. We're here. If people can't make it to the show, what's the best website they can go to?
Go to www.rts.com. And you'll find all the collection and all the local office numbers and our distribution descriptions there.
Excellent, John. Thank you very much for coming on.
My pleasure. And thank you for giving us the opportunity. And,
no worries.
Glad you're enjoying the comms.
They've been brilliant. Thank you for letting us use them. That's great. Thank you very much, John. I'll take that off you. Cheers, thank you. Right. Here we go. Yeah, if you want to, if you're interested in and you're in the show, come and have a look. We can see our setup that we're using as far as comms. Certainly worth having a look. It's worked brilliantly for us. We've now got Alistair Horne from VideoSys.
Hi, mate.
I'm going to give you a mic. There you go, my friend.
Hi, John.
Good to see you.
See you.
Now, if people don't know, first tell us a little bit about VideoSys and what it is that you guys provide.
Okay, VideoSys, we're a little company. We're based down near Gatwick, Crawley, and what we do is we distribute Cobham transmission products for HD video, SD video. We also design and build our own camera control system, which is mainly for the outside broadcast market.
Yep.
And what that enables you to do is to control the colors and the iris of the camera wirelessly, so remotely, so you don't need any cables or anything attached to it at all. So, as you can see here,
go for it.
It's this little box that sits on the side of the camera there, and it enables you to use a manufacturer RCP. That's the kind of special thing about this.
Right. So already questions coming in. Can you control, for example, a Panasonic camera?
What you can do is you can control Ikegami, Panasonic, Sony, Hitachi, and any other sort of major manufacturer, and most of their major broadcast line cameras as well.
And using the, for example, the Panasonic control panel, you could use that to control the Panasonic.
Yes, that's right. So you use this, you can use all the functions that are on here to remotely control the camera, which is something that hasn't been available to you in the past as such. There's been other companies that have developed it, but they've had their own faults, and this sort of alleviates all those faults.
So if you've got the system, if you've got a camera, if you've got a panel, and at the moment you're using a bit of wire,
if you want to make that camera a remote camera in an outside broadcast environment, then you add that to the side and away you go. You obviously need some form of transmission unit.
Sure.
We obviously deal with the Cobham stuff. That will get you this system here. You probably clear a mile if it was point-to-point links. And
yeah, so let's talk about this now. We've been walking around with a camera, so all our mobile stuff has been done with one of your transmitters on the back. It gets a lot of attention. Mainly because it's on a semi-pro, shall we say. It's on a PW 200. It's not on a big Ikegami or Panasonic or Sony shoulder mount camera, and this is the beauty of it. People don't think you can put one of these, but with one of your kit, the size and it's reasonably small and light, you can do that.
The one we've actually given you is actually quite a large transmitter. I mean, that's a smaller version, and that's effectively it's the same thing. You just don't have the same sort of form of connectors on the back.
Sure.
You can get into the same, and it will take an HD SDI signal, an SD signal, or an HDMI signal. It'll embed the audio, it'll do all that for you. And as you've seen here, I mean, we've just got two little receivers up here. It took 5 minutes to set up, and away you go. And as far as I've seen, because we're receiving your pictures on our stand as well,
it's been
a rock solid.
Absolutely.
So
if people haven't heard of Cobham, tell us a little bit about Cobham, where it's come from. I mean, this might be a new brand that people haven't heard of.
Cobham are huge in the military aspect. They make most of their stuff goes onto aeroplanes and things that we probably shouldn't even know about. They entered into the broadcast market a few years back, and they adapted it for the broadcast market. So we're relatively new. There's some big players that have been out there, and we're sort of trying to get in there and sort of work alongside. We've certainly got a comparable product in a lot of cases, a lot better. It's an MPEG 4 product, H.264. You can buy one of these with a 500 milliwatt output, which will give you a much larger range. In here, the version you're using is 100 milliwatts, and as you can see, that's more than adequate for what we've needed to do here.
So, I mean, what surprised me is I always thought that you had to have perfect line of sight between this and the aerial, and it's just doesn't seem to be the case.
It's not true anymore. I mean, back in the day, yes, you had to, with the old analog, you had to have two antennas looking at each other with a nice strong signal, otherwise you'd start getting wavy colours and things like that. Now, it is true, they will go around corners and they will go under tunnels and stuff, but there are limitations to it at all times. It always is best to have a line of sight, but if you haven't, in a situation like this where it's got lots of things to reflect off, it will still work.
I was going to say, we can walk around between the stands, surrounded by people, and there hasn't been a single issue with it.
Once, so
people are going to ask, are you able to give us some sort of indication on pricing?
Yeah, of course. It's for a system like this, it's around £23,000. Yep. So I noticed you had the Teradek guys here before, and so
yes.
it is a different animal.
Yeah, absolutely.
To what they are. I mean, those guys have really opened up a new market. In professional broadcast, most people are still sticking with the proper, the larger COF-DEM integrations. I mean, I'm not saying that, but those guys have certainly opened up a new market for us. But in terms of comparable products, comparable makes, manufacturers, we certainly do come, believe it or not, quite cheap. It's, it's, if you're paying for out your pocket money, it's still a lot of money.
And you guys are the UK distributor for Cobham Kit?
Yes, we are. We're UK distributor for Cobham, but
this is the control surface,
the control box we make ourselves. The rest we distribute for Cobham. They've got a range of products that we offer: antennas, down converters, receivers. We offer the whole lot. But myself and the owner of the company, Colin, we've been on the outside broadcast circuit for a lot of years now. Between us, we've pretty much done everything: motor racing, football matches, round the world, boats, underwater, above. You know, we've done it, and we genuinely care about what we do. So we're quite happy for anyone to call us at any time. We'll have a chat, and if we can help you out in any way, we're more than happy to do so.
Brilliant, Alistair. Now you've also got a stand here at the show.
We have,
it's quite a simple one to find because it's got a whopping great big crane out the front of it.
Exactly, so we didn't pay for that. Someone else paid for that.
It's like a big arrow pointing down to the video.
So if you can find the massive Technocrane, we're underneath that.
You can't miss it, can you?
You can't miss us.
I would suggest that if you are coming to the show either today or tomorrow, come and have a chat with Alistair at VideoSys. You've got a lot. You can demonstrate everything there.
We can demonstrate it. You can
We're obviously demonstrating.
You can see it walking around here. It's working right now there. And we're also on the Tiffin stand. Broadcaster F are very kind and lent us one of their cameras and one of their setups. So we're that's up and down there. So if you want to have a go on a steady cam, then Tiffin will let you have a go, and you can have a go and see if you're as good as the guys that run the line at the football match. So
that's excellent, Alistair. If people can't make it, what's the best website they can get to?
Website is www.videosys.tv, and you can find our email on there and all the information you require, and anything else, just ask us, and we're more than happy to help out.
Alistair, that's great. Thank you for coming on, and we really do appreciate you.
No problem at all. I'm glad you enjoyed it.
It's been spectacular. I think it has made the show being able to walk around that. It certainly will make it later when the girls go off and do their bit for an hour as well on it. So that's great, Alistair.
John, always a pleasure.
Thank you, mate. Cheers. Take care.
Take care.
So that's Alistair, and he has been very helpful over this show. I mean, the kit that we've been using has been absolutely amazing. It is rock solid. I have to say, I was sceptical at the beginning that we would get a rock solid picture throughout this massive hall with massive amount of radio interference, and just going to get Paul in, and it has worked absolutely faultlessly, and we'll be sending audio and video over to this stand where we've been sending it out to you. And now this is a call it a podcast of some kind. This is live streaming, and I've got a colleague of mine, shall we say, Paul Genge from Cameradiner. Hello, good to see you.
See you, John.
I'm going to give you a mic.
Thank you.
There we go. It's the only way we can get clear sound here.
Indeed.
Because there's the massive amount of noise behind us.
It's phenomenally busy.
It is busy, isn't it?
This is so much busier than Earl's Court even.
Yeah, I was surprised just today. It's just gone woof, hasn't it? The amount of people that's turned up. So, Paul, I think you need to, first of all, for our viewing public here, introduce yourself, tell us what you're doing, and then we'll go and have a little chat about all this stuff.
So Cameradiner is a brand new website with a live streaming TV show once a week, Thursday night, 7 o'clock, that we talk all things photography and filmmaking. So for anybody with a camera, with a digital SLR or a compact system camera where the lens comes off the front and they use it for stills or video, we're the place to come and have a watch of that and learn more about what you can buy to go with it, how you can use it better, smarter, produce better quality, whatever it might be.
Brilliant. Now, you've come from a similar sort of route as us over the past 12 months, coming from not doing it to having a successful online streaming show. Can you give us a little bit of the sort of the path that you've taken to getting where you are?
Well, my background has always been working in the camera industry.
Yeah.
So photography was my thing.
Yep.
Broadcast wasn't.
Right.
And I was actually working for the company I used to work for for BVE last year. In fact, I was on their stand, and I kind of knew that I needed to research broadcast. So came around looking around BVE and started researching the product that I needed to invest into to make this transition and this step. And I found the guys at Blackmagic to be so helpful, and their products to give me the solution that I needed in one box to get myself online and start streaming. And little by little, learning and adding and increasing the flexibility of what I can put together as a production to then bring to air to our viewers. They've been fantastic. They couldn't have done anything more for me.
Brilliant. So this is obviously we're a little bit of a techie show here, and people are going to ask. So what's the sort of setup and system that you use at the moment?
So we have Blackmagic 8M1 ME switcher, which we feed in HDMI and SDI sources too.
Sure.
We use 6 of the 8 bank that it's got available. So that's the main hub of everything that gets us online. And we use radio much like this. We use Hyperdeck Studio for recording offline. So we're live, but we also recut it and put it out again for on-demand viewing. But the one box that I've invested in recently that has been an absolute godsend has been the Teradek.
Right.
And this is it here. This is the 3D version, but I've got the 2D version.
Yep.
This was a solution to a problem that I searched the industry for, couldn't find, spoke to the Blackmagic guys and said, oh, you just need one of these. And I couldn't believe how straightforward it was.
And the problem was?
The problem was that I was going to do a show all about apps for photography based on the iPad. How am I going to get a feed out of the iPad to match the other sources that I had so that I could stream at 720p, 50 frames per second? Live on the fly. So we could, this wasn't pre-recorded, we're operating the app live.
Sure.
And this was the solution, because it will ingest any different format of frame rate, resolution, even for NTSC or PAL, whichever it's coming in at, and convert it on the fly, live, straight, and actually improve the picture quality, take out any crosstalk and moire and anything like that, and actually put out a perfect quality file in the format that you describe to it.
And it's doing it real time.
Real time. So you plug in your HDMI, and the handshake actually tells it what it is. If it's SDI or something else, you have to tell it what format it is. And the output then, you select, I want it in 720 at 50 frames per second, as I need it, but it can be a multitude of other options, and it just does it.
So, I mean, the reason we have the difficulties is that iPads are pretty inflexible as to what it will send out of its HDMI port at the bottom. So unless you happen to have a system that just matches that perfectly, you need to do some conversion.
That's right.
So, and that's where a box like this will come in handy.
And since then, there have been other instances where this has paid for itself immediately. Because I work in the camera side of the industry, I've done shows with Panasonic, with Fujifilm, and Sony is on the show this week. They bring me the latest cameras they've got, but often they're only the samples, the pilot samples, pre-production. And they haven't got final firmware. And they are often produced for the US market because of the one final firmware or prototype firmware that they're running, they haven't got the full control. So they come to me and they say, oh, can we just show the graphic user interface, or can we show how this touchscreen display works and things like that? Can you take that feed out and show that full screen to the viewers at home? And I go, well, I can now, because plug the HDMI in, that routes through to this over a 10-meter long HDMI cable. This feeds it in. But better than that, I didn't even know this could do it at the time I got it.
Right.
I can output not only the HDMI from this into the 8M1, so that's getting the feed, but it can also feed out the SDI connection at the same time, back to a screen that's in the dyno, so that I can see what I'm touching, operating, and what have you. Because normally when you plug in an HDMI cable to the camera, it cuts the LCD on the camera.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
basically, you
get dual output.
You get dual output. You've got a monitor. It's real time. There's no lag on it. It's straight through, so you can touch in real time and see what's going on.
And it cleans the picture up as well.
It cleans the picture up. Now, on the back of this unit, if I spin it round so people can see.
Yep. This is the 3D one. This is coming out very shortly. This isn't actually available yet.
So this is the slightly more up. It's not the updated. It's the next version up.
Next version up.
Doesn't it? So
if you want to do 3D camera matching and things like that, this can do that.
So. As far as the 2D one is concerned, it has it's very similar, just
very similar.
less connectors.
Hasn't quite got the depth, but it doesn't have the redundant power supply, and much of the connectivity is the same, I think. Similar anyway. The other thing it's got is Thunderbolt, so if you want to output and record from that.
So this is an interface as well.
Yes.
So as well as doing basically conversion from just about anything to anything on the fly, and it's worth mentioning that there are boxes that do conversion, but these do it really well.
Yes,
and
phenomenally well.
Teradek have been around for a while before Blackmagic, and Blackmagic's taken them and done what Blackmagic do best, and added functionality. And
reduce the size, reduce the cost.
Drastically reduce the cost.
Yes, this is actually, for the 2D version that I've bought, the best 1,300 quid I've ever spent.
Yeah, and it really is a Swiss Army tool in a way of video. You can put anything in it and you just think, I need to get out of jail here somehow. Even you can, I think you can even de-embed audio on it, can't you? Embed de-embed audio from it.
It can read time code, it can send it out, it can do all sorts.
You can capture it off, you can use it into a Thunderbolt device. Truly an amazing piece of kit. Obviously this is available from Blackmagic. People can come see it on the Blackmagic stand. And it's worth definitely them going to have a look at that. If people want to find out a little bit more about what you're doing,
www.cameradiner.com. We broadcast every Thursday at 7 o'clock live. This is the broadcast show where we're at, and as of Sunday, in my industry, the photographic industry, we've got Focus on Imaging opening its doors at Birmingham NEC. So this week I've actually got to do 5 live shows. And now you only do 1 show a month normally.
1 show a month.
And
I'm
do
a part-timer.
And this week I've got to do 5 in a week.
Yeah, absolutely. We just can't get the guests.
This guy's part-time.
Part-time, absolutely. Well, I'll be sure to tune in, that's sure. I hope it all goes well for you over the next 12 months. We will certainly be talking more and more. You've written an article recently as well, I think.
In your next issue?
In our next issue of TV Bay, which I think you can pick up here at the moment.
I don't think
No, it's the next one.
Yes, I think you're giving it out at NAB.
I'm just March issue will be an article from yourself. Make sure you pick up that copy of TV Bay. Thank you very much for coming up and showing us. This is a great piece of kit. We look forward to more stories of how you've been integrating different pieces of kit, how they've been solving all your problems.
Next time I'll come and talk to you about some cameras and things.
We'll go and do that. Let's do cameras and things, actually. Fantastic, Paul. Thank you very much for coming on, mate. Much appreciated.
Nice to meet you.
You can leave that here if you want. No, better not. Take it back, just in case they are. Okay. I'm listening to things in my ear at the moment. Okay, so we've got 2 people coming up. This is them throwing themselves at me. Here we go. Go on. Come on, Jeromy. Jeromy goes in the middle. I'm going to give you a mic because we can talk into that. Okay. Right. Julian, good to see you.
Hello. Hi.
Hi. Thank you for coming on. So now we have here a DSLR. Now we're going to have to point this mic between the 2 of you.
No problem.
And we'll work it out, I'm sure. DSLRs have absolutely revolutionised the industry, haven't they, as far as video goes in some respect. We're getting a bit of interference here, I think. And obviously you guys provide a means of recording in very high quality the amazing video footage that these things provide.
Yeah, from the lens and sensor.
Yeah, absolutely. So tell us about what we've got here, just so people can understand how this system works. People go, saying it's a D800 stills camera. What are we able to do here with this?
So this is one of the most advanced electronic pieces of equipment on the planet. It has one of the best sensors available today.
Yep.
And obviously Nikon are very well known for their amazing glass, as they call it in the industry, their lenses. So that combination is phenomenal. They've now brought video to that. And we've worked together with them to give you progressive outputs in 24, 25, and 30p.
Yep.
So you get that film look. You can use your glass like you would in true cinema style at really affordable prices. And this camera has a lot of features, which I'll hand over for Julian to go through.
Yeah, while you're handing over, one thing people do think, holding the DSLR, you can't plug anything into the HDMI port to record it because it's going to have writing all over it and a little red dot in the right-hand corner, isn't
exactly.
that?
No, exactly. I mean, this is one of the key things with the Nikon DSLRs is that we have a clean HDMI out. So it's uncompressed, clean signal, which you can see there is just recorded straight into the Atomos, and yeah, that's one of the key things is that you can get rid of all of that clutter that you had before, so that you can just record the stream straight into ProRes or Avid or from there.
And it just goes to show you how things have moved on, because this is a broadcast expo we've got here. And there's a Nikon stand here with Nikon DSLRs.
No, exactly.
Purely, really, because of the video quality and output that these things produce.
Yeah, I mean, this is our second year at the show now. So that shows just how, recently it's sort of come onto the stage where we feel this is where we can be as well and coming into this market.
In promotion, very committed in promotion, and Nikon have brought a lot of their photography user focus to the video market. They don't sell the technical features of the camera, they sell the wonderful images you can produce from their photography cameras, and now they're bringing that to video, and we're teaming up at every show that we can to show this combination. Together. What's the D800 run for now?
Yeah, shop price on D800, you're looking at around about 2,400, 2,300, around that price for the body. So yeah, it's
and then put a Ninja on top of it for £600. And you've got a £3,000 solution that rivals £30,000 solutions out there.
Sure. And not forgetting, of course, that if you decided you weren't going to go for a walk and you're not going to take any video, you've got a magnificent stills camera as well.
Exactly. I mean, in stills world, this is the Hasselblad medium format territory. With 36 million pixel sensor, it's huge. So yeah, you're coming into that market.
And so as far as image quality goes on this now, obviously the 5D Mark II was the start. Nikon are now in the game with this and have basically pushed the benchmark up. The D800, I've used it a few times, and it's just been staggering. The picture that you get from this as far as video is concerned. And obviously you can record internal.
You can do. Yeah, you can.
But if you are working in broadcast and they want the higher bit rate, that's where the Ninja 2 and things comes in, doesn't it? Just to be able to give you that fast workflow and...
Yes, and what we're focused on is being the connection between the amazing cameras that are out there, especially the Japanese cameras. We're very close to Canon, we're very close to Nikon, we're very close to Sony, especially in the broadcast end. And we went to Nikon, about maybe 2 years ago now? Yeah, sat at the table and said, hey guys, we know you need to come to video. We want to be a big part of that. Let's start with 24p. And then a few months later they said it's working. And we got a sample, and it was just the whole world changed on that day. And now we can focus on connecting this to the editing world, which is the world that the broadcasters live in, and also the cinematographers live in and the videographers live in. You can't take good footage and just deliver it in the delivery format, which is what these amazing MPEG formats are. Let's not forget that 80% of video shot is only ever shot in MPEG-4 and left or delivered to someone. They don't put titles, they don't do color correction, they don't be creative with it. But the people who do, they need a device like this. And companies like Nikon can focus on their great lenses and sensors and improve those, because making a camera like this is a phenomenal amount of engineering effort. And then to also, for us to be able to bring cut editing to our device, to give metadata tagging so that it's easier in the post-production. We're working with companies like Nikon to get control of their cameras. They have APIs and SDKs that we can integrate into the future for other markets, which Julian sells a lot to defense and different types of markets, which I'll get him to talk about. But there's one thing I do want to mention.
Go for it.
There's an amazing thing that's just happened recently.
Yes.
And I only found out about it last week when I was in Japan with meeting Nikon. The 5200 Nikon DSLR gives a perfect clean output, the same as the D800. It's a DX sensor, so it's not the higher full frame sensor. It basically gives damn near the same quality as the D800. The D800 has a lot more features in terms of a camera. So it is a lower end camera. But what is that camera? 600 pounds?
Yeah, about 600.
600 pounds. You put a Ninja on top of it for equivalent. You know, I need to drop my price or something because that's you know, a phenomenal piece of kit for the same price. But the 3200 also has the same capability, which is a 300-pound camera.
Brilliant.
So we are now getting into everybody who wants to be a cinema photographer, no matter how old they are. Your mum and dad can buy it for you if you're a kid. If you want to go out by yourself when you're a cameraman, you can do that, and it's affordable.
So the thing is, we're getting questions from Twitter, and one of them is a very valid point here. DSLR's fantastic video image, not so good on the audio side. Now let's face it, you're not going to stick a load of XLRs on the side of a camera, are you? So you need to think about the audio side with this as well. And somebody's just asked, how are you getting, because obviously the audio on a Ninja is normally taken in through the embedded through HDMI.
Correct.
You don't get audio out of the HDMI on a DSLR. How do you work with the Ninja and a DSLR to get decent audio recording here?
So we've teamed up with a great little company, an American company called Beach Tech. And they have these wonderful little devices that are built for DSLRs that take XLR audio in. And we've worked with them. They've updated their firmware. We've updated ours to get even more functionality across. You can see you've got complete control over gain and left and right channels and stereo channels. And with this solution, that runs for about $150 US. So I think it's about 99 pounds or something like that. So it's not an expensive piece of gear, but that now gives you the same functionality as, you know, a $20,000 Sony high-end with all these XLRs hanging off the side of it.
And the audio is taken into the Ninja via a analog input that is also has on the back. So people think it has to be embedded audio. It doesn't have to be with a Ninja or Samurai, does it?
No. And what we've worked with them on is we lock audio to video, so you don't get drifting, you don't get sync issues, which a lot of people are worried about, especially on the DSLRs. So this combination, and you can also add microphones from Nikon that sit on top of this camera and record 2 channels in, and that's all working perfectly. But if they do want XLR and phantom power and all of those wonderful things that real audio in video it requires, then it's a very affordable solution.
So if you didn't have the Beach Tech, and let's say you've got some Soundy who's recording off-board sound, and you just wanted scratch audio on here to sync up later, you can still plug your Samurai directly into you've got a headphone output, and you might just be recording standard audio, and then you can sync it up and replace it.
It comes from over HDMI.
So you get embedded audio over HDMI directly from the camera.
So you got, exactly. So on the camera itself, you've got, you can attach 3.5mm jacks to it, etc., and monitor the audio as well. But then otherwise it's embedded over the HDMI.
Right, so this is something I didn't realise. So on a really, really small solution, you've got somebody else recording decent quality audio on a recorder, you can just use your HDMI cable and you're still getting audio recorded, albeit the inbuilt mic, let's say, but you've got that for your scratch. You can then sync it up later in post and all sorted. I didn't realise you could do it over. I didn't realise it had embedded audio in there. Worst case scenario, you could also put a headphone jack and the right cable with the right balance in there as well. So multiple ways of getting audio.
And you've got you have microphones, etc., that you sell as accessories on top of the camera.
Yeah, we do. We'd have ME1 microphone, which is can be hot shoe mounted, but yeah, it's a 3.5mm jack. It's a small little jack microphone, which we've designed specifically so that it doesn't overhang the back of the camera. It's one of the key things where some of these small microphones, they overhang the back. Great when you're doing your video, and then you turn it off and you want to take a few shots. Suddenly sits you in the top of the head. So yeah, it sits a little bit forward and just clears the back of the camera. So yeah, we do microphones that do that as well.
Fantastic, guys. Thanks for bringing this on. We're getting a couple of questions gone just to clarify the cost of the Ninja 2. If you could do that for us.
Yes. Yeah, so the Ninja 2 is £625. It includes the case, the docking station, the hard disk caddies, the batteries, the charger. You've seen the case.
Yeah, I've seen the case.
Pretty impressive piece of kit.
Is.
And plus VAT. But there's a show special if they come down tomorrow to BVE. There's about £100 off.
Brilliant.
And all of the resellers around here are selling that. And there's a combo with some of the resellers on the D800 and the Ninja. So yeah, that's the cost of the Ninja.
It's an amazing combination, and just be able to get the fantastic image from a D800 at a fantastic codec that you get on and you can use on the Ninja 2.
Well, I just want to put it in perspective. You know, there's other cameras coming onto the market or trying to come onto the market that are saying they're 2K.
Yes.
This is a 7K sensor.
Sure.
And we're outputting 2K for HD. Now, the quality that you get from that, and just think of the future as HDMI gets faster. 4K comes online. These sensors can already do damn near 8K. So I see these type of cameras as the future, and the lenses have always been amazing from these companies.
Brilliant. Well, guys, thank you very much for bringing it on and showing us. If people want to find out a bit more information, they're at the show. First of all, where can they find Atomos?
D38, right near the bar.
Right near the bar. You can't miss it. You've strategically placed that. And as far as the Nikon stand goes?
Yeah, we're K20, and we're right next door to the Adobe production suite. So yeah,
brilliant.
Easy to find as well.
Gents, thank you very much for coming on. Jeromy, thank you. Pleasure as always.
Thanks
thank you very much, Julian.
Thank you.
I'll take the mic off you. If you want to go and have a look, where am I? There we are. If you want to go and have a look at that, those systems, they are pretty close to each other in the show. If not, go and have a look at atomos.com and obviously Nikon's website. While we get our next guest ready, I will just remind you that after this show, we will have our special after-show feature, which is called The Only Way is XL, which is presented by Heather and Sarah. They will be on directly after the show, so stick around and watch that. In the meantime, I'm going to give you a mic.
Thanks very much. Thank you.
I've got Tom Blake here from Cambridge Imaging.
Hi, nice to meet you.
And you. Now, I'm getting guests thrown at me all the time now on these shows.
Yep.
So it's always an interesting stage as we get to the end. You get almost pulled off the street sometimes to come in. And tell us a little bit. Tell us a little bit about Cambridge Imaging Systems.
So Cambridge Imaging Systems. So the business has been around for 20 years.
Yep.
And we've been really at the forefront of asset management systems, developing systems for high-profile corporate and government clients. Really, it started out with the Ministry of Defence at the first Gulf War. At the time, you can imagine this, that the army, the military are going in, and they need some intelligence photography, and all they've got is a load of negatives in a shoebox down in the bottom of the old War Office. And so what do they do about that? Somebody needs some photography, they go and develop one photograph, they put it in a diplomatic bag, they send it out. 3 days later, somebody has got the photograph they need to go and take action. So at the time, the Cambridge Imaging had some very smart techies and took the entirety of the Ministry of Defence photographs and put them all online with some very clever metadata around it to allow people to search and find footage very quickly and easily. An asset management system was born.
Right.
Roll that forward 20 years.
Yeah.
It's 20 years, yeah. 20 years. And since then we've put archives online such as British Pathé, the old film newsreel archive.
Yep.
We are working to put all of the Imperial War Museum classic archive footage online, and now we have partnerships with IMG and some of the sports houses, and making their archives available for researchers to search, find footage, download clips in master high-resolution copies, and to monetize their media in a new way.
So if somebody contacts you to say we have this massive archive of files, content, and we need to get this into a digital format that's searchable, that's viewable, what's the process? How does it work? I'm trying to work out. I can just see piles of negatives and things. And yes.
Well, I generally think of the value chain as having 4 pillars.
Yep.
So first of all is to digitize.
Yep.
And then there is to store it.
Yep.
And then you need a system to manage that and make it searchable. And then you need to distribute it.
Right.
Really. So we are not in the business of digitizing. Sure. That requires you to have a lot of very specialist equipment, sure. Scanners, tape encoders, etc. We spend, our focus is much more on, and equally, sorry, we don't have the data center to store it all. Sure. So we find partners who will provide all of that. We provide the system which allows that to be easily searchable and ultimately distributable.
Gotcha.
So that's where we sit in that value chain. And quite interestingly, you asked that question because originally the kind of the proposition that we worked on was encouraging people to digitize their archive for preservation. But now with new ways of monetizing media, we encourage people to digitize their media to generate revenue from it. And that's a really much easier prospect or concept to sell to people.
So, do you have a stand here at BVE?
We do. We have stand L1, which is not far away from where we're sitting now.
It's not, is it?
Just over the other side of the hall there. And we have some demonstration systems on the booth, and it would be a pleasure to show to anybody who has time to come along.
Excellent. So, yeah, if people want to come along and see, they can do. If they aren't able to get to the show and they want to find out a little bit more about what it is that you guys do, is there a website that they can go to?
There is, and that's cambridgeimaging.com. Yep. You can find all the information that you need there, and of course we can provide online demonstrations, videos, etc. And if you really want to, we can provide you with a demonstration system to run for 30 days and try and see if you can monetize your archive in that time.
Fantastic, Tom. Well, thank you for coming
very much
on. It's much appreciated.
Thank you.
I'll send people your way when they start asking me about that sort of stuff. I'll take the mic off you, save you walking around. Brilliant. Thank you, Tom. So they're now getting thrown at me. This happens at the end of every single show as we get moved to the end. We've got Chris Barlow from Astec now coming on. Come on, Chris. Hi, Chris. Good to see you, my friend.
Yeah, you too. Nice to meet you.
And you. So, tell us a little bit about Astec.
Astec's a software company. We've been around now for about 13 years. We started off in the manufacturing industry. We provide control systems and monitoring systems, but primarily for the manufacturing companies, so they can run their equipment, make goods, products, and deliver those products to their customers. Then round about sort of 7 or 8 years ago, I think we kind of decided that the same kind of technology, the acquisition of real-time data and presenting information to users, probably had similar relevance in the broadcast industry as well. So we started to work with one particular large broadcaster in the UK, and we've had a very successful 8 years working with them to deliver a solution which monitors their entire broadcast chain. And we're now looking and working with other broadcasters to continue the proliferation of that solution.
So the sort of things that you guys do, what's some of the installations and setups that you've done in the past sort of 12 months? Don't have to be specific about clients, but
of course.
If people want to know exactly what it was that you guys will set up a system that will do such and such, what would they be?
Well, pretty much any control and monitoring of the entire broadcast chain. So whether that's right from the contribution side of the business in MCR, studios, ingest, right the way through play out, transmission into head ends and uplinks, for the satellite world, or I guess head ends for for terrestrial also. Any specific areas where there's large volumes of equipment, and also disparate equipment as well. So from different vendors, which all fulfills different roles. Then we can monitor all of that equipment, and we aggregate the data and present it in a way which makes it easy to understand, that makes sense to operations people, and makes it easy to pinpoint the root cause of problems, and also where to go and make fixes to put things right, I guess. Whether it's the entire broadcast chain. I mean certainly one of our customers is using our system to monitor over 26,000 devices right across the broadcast chain, from contribution right the way through to uplink. A solution we've been working on now for around about the last 15 months is purely focused on satellite and terrestrial head ends, and we're hoping as a phase 2 for that, it's going to move out more into glue and you know, backwards a little bit into you know, play out servers, those, you know, those types of equipment. So the solution is very scalable. You can start off very small and add components and functionality as you need. Brilliant. But really the essence is to, you know, to provide real-time information, you know, to users, just to enable them to make quick decisions and to, you know, find faults and to put things right.
Brilliant. Now, there's not many people doing this, certainly at BVE, is there, as far as I understand it?
Well, as far as we're aware, I think we're the only company here this time, which is good for us.
Yeah, absolutely.
We don't have too many. There's not too much competition here. So we're not getting too many tricky questions. So no, it's been a good show for us, good opportunity.
Excellent. And you've got a stand here?
We do, yeah. Yeah, we're at J72. Yeah. I think just over that way towards the back. Yeah. Yeah. And next to the helicopter.
I'm getting things. Find the helicopter, they find you.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
Am I right in saying that I'm getting things whispered in my ear? You've got a presentation tomorrow?
Yeah, we're doing 2 presentations. The first one tomorrow morning at 11, I think, is entitled "How Astec Can Help Increase Your Uptime." We're just looking at the way the solution helps really to you know, to overcome problems that could be you know, service affecting. And the presentation tomorrow afternoon at 2, I think it is looking more on the off-air service monitoring side, so actually what customers are seeing, so we can monitor the output of set-top boxes, for example, to see whether there's any, you know, issues in the services and signals that are being received by customers.
Brilliant. And do you know whereabouts will they be? Where will all the presentations be?
The presentations are on our stand. We got a little TV there, and everybody's welcome to come along and take part.
Excellent, Chris.
Ask any questions.
Brilliant. I'm sure they will. Chris, thank you very much for coming on.
No, thank you.
If people couldn't get to the show, is there a website they can go to have a look, find out more?
Yes, we have a website. Our sort of broadcasting specific website is broadcasting.astecsolutions.com. If anybody would like to go on there, there's an inquiry form. All our contact details are on there, so you know, feel free. They can drop us some questions in, and
brilliant.
You know, happy to hear from people.
Excellent, Chris. Thank you very much for coming on and telling us all about it. That's great. Thank you very much. If you want to go and find out what's going on with them, go and see them at their stand, and obviously they've got those presentations tomorrow. Meantime, my mate Guy's going to come on, and I'm going to ask for a drink. So if somebody can bring me over a bit of a drink before my voice. Come on, Guy, come and sit in, mate. Let me get this chair out the way. He's got lots of stuff, as always. I'm just going to drink on air. This is only Coke, I assure you. Here we go. Non-stop talking all day, that's me. Right, where are we? Oh, we're up on Polcam. See, I haven't got I need a big red light on Polcam. Hello, Polcam up there doing the high shot. This is Guy Thatcher from Hireacamera. Here's a mic.
Thank you.
We've all gone. You've just run over, haven't you? You've been stealing stuff, and then you run back, haven't you? You do this every time.
I know. They're used to it now.
Yeah, absolutely. Got to go talk about this. I want your camera, and you whip it off the stand. Guy, thank you very much for coming on.
That's all right.
Now we've just had Jeromy from Atomos.
Know him well.
Yep. And Julian from Nikon.
Know him well.
Absolutely. And they were thrown at me. So we've had a quick look at Ninja and the D800 camera.
Yeah, we are. They're quite popular.
They are quite popular. Now this is a beast of a camera. What do we have here?
Okay, well, I thought I'd choose a different theme from what we were talking about.
Yeah, okay.
So we're going 4K now.
Okay, 4K.
We're going 4K on a budget.
Yep.
If there is such a thing.
Well,
a lowish budget.
Lowish budget.
Okay, so what we've got here is the Canon 1DC. Which, well, you'll instantly recognise it looks identical to Canon 1DX, and in fact, actually, there's an awful lot of similarities to it. If you used a 1DX, you won't see an awful lot of difference until you start to go into the movie mode on here, and that's where the difference is. You've suddenly got 4K ability to record in it.
So this is a DSLR that can record 4K.
Yeah, I mean, it's effectively exactly the same sensor as the 1DX.
Yeah.
The whole point behind this is this has actually been designed to use that sensor to record in 4K. It records onto motion JPEG. Yeah, you did need reasonably fast cards. Interesting enough, actually, we've been using our SanDisk Extreme Pro cards. And haven't had a problem at all. They're quick enough.
And what are they rated at?
They're 95, I think, 95.
Yep.
So, yeah, I mean, anything up to around 100 is preferable.
Sure.
But it's, you know, the funny thing is when it first was announced, it first came out, I'm sitting there thinking, well, you know, we hire up probably more DSLRs than pretty much anybody else in the country, and I just think, yes, and then I go no, and then I go yes, and then I go no. Is anybody going to use it?
Yep.
The interesting thing was about 3 weeks ago, I bumped into Philip Bloom down in Brighton, who was shooting with one down there. He just got one, and with a good friend of mine, a good customer, I was James Miller, and kind of since then, James has had Canon's one to play with quite a lot, and we've been doing tests side by side. And do you know what? It is, yes, it has a few things you have to work around, but my God, it's amazing.
Right.
I mean, simply amazing. Even if you take, you know, the 4K footage and then you basically downsize
Which is what I was going to ask, yeah. Is there a noticeable difference?
The thing is, it's not sharpness, it's detail. Right. It's just there.
Yep.
It's unbelievable. I mean, okay, that brings its own issues in terms of focusing.
Sure, absolutely.
But, you know, there's certain applications as far as our customers are concerned, you know, whether that be actually being able to take 2 different frames from one camera when you're shooting rather than having to use 2 cameras.
Yep.
Whether it be actually starting to build up 4K stock footage, those kind of things. But the great thing is, look, okay, yes, it is a little bit heavy with this lens, but it's portable.
Absolutely.
You can put this in your camera bag.
Yep.
You know, you haven't got some enormous 4K recorder. This is reasonably portable, and okay, yes, it's not that cheap, but compared to anything else out there, it is.
Absolutely.
It's good value.
And you mentioned about, you know, it's important you do get a decent lens on it if you're going to start shooting in 4K. You don't want to put some cheap tat on it.
Yeah, no, that's true.
You will notice it.
Yeah, I mean, interesting enough, I mean, you know, all the shooting that I know James was doing with it wasn't with any of these cinema lenses. It was with 2470, 24-105, 70-200 L lenses.
Yep.
And, you know, it looks pretty good on those. Yeah, these are quite nice.
Yeah.
They're beautiful, and you've only got to lift it.
Yes, it's not a one-handed shooting job, is it really? But
no, it's you know, they're beautiful, but you know, the reality for us is that a lot of our customers have got L mount lenses already, and you know, decent L mount primes, you're still going to reap the benefits from this. Yes, these are nice. You know, you've got a 2450 and 85 mil prime at the moment, and I know they're coming out with a 14 and a 135 prime as well. Right. So that's quite a nice set of primes to have. Yeah. Do you know what? Until anybody's really played with them side by side and really compared them, then I don't know. But the whole thing we like about this camera is its accessibility into the world of 4K. It's brilliant.
So they can hire these from you when you...
Yes. Ours arrives next week. Excellent. This is why I've just nicked this one. Because ours, even if we had it, it wouldn't be with us because it'd be out.
Sure.
But yes, we have one arriving next week.
Brilliant.
And as far as I know, it's the only one around at the moment.
So you're the person to contact if you want to get your hands on a 1DC. And
and obviously we've got a full range of lenses to go with it, and the primes, you know, as the others come, we'll start to look at those as well. So that's one thing I brought. Now, obviously, wanting to be completely PC here and batting for both sides.
Oh, of course. I'll move that over there.
We'll move the Canon over there. You'll need to hold this because otherwise,
no problem. I will hold that for you.
And then I'll be in real trouble.
That looks like an FS700.
It is an FS700, you are quite right. Now, I mean, this is so new that you don't even switch on or anything like that. It's really a sort of a mock-up to give people an idea of what to expect. FS700s, we've got a load of them. They're incredibly popular. Really, really good camera. And actually moving away from just the super slow-mo side, which everybody loved for a while, and then it got kind of a bit overdone. It's nice to have it there, but actually as a camera itself, it's really nice. And now having the ND filters on there as well, because this sensor is so sensitive, it desperately needed ND filters. Having those on there, we're finding that this camera is now one of our most popular cameras for hire, because it's E-mount, so you can put anything on it. Metabone, speed booster adapter, I should have brought one with me. How it works, I still don't understand it, but it does work so well. And it really lends something to these E-mount cameras now, because suddenly, you know, you're now getting a 35mm effective equivalent in terms of your focal length, plus also another stop. That's it. I don't understand how it works, but the fact is we have them, and you know, they're incredibly popular when you mount it on the FS700. Now, for us, again, as I said, you know, we're not into the very high-end stuff. We're trying to find solutions for people to use which are affordable. So for us, the R5 interface and R5 recorder, one's called a something R5, and the other one's called an IFR R5. I can't remember. They both end in R5.
Yep.
You've got the interface, which is taking a SDI out input output from the camera, which goes into the unit.
Yep.
That will then transfer a 4K RAW into the recorder. And this will allow you to use, because it is a 4K sensor in here.
Right. So
it's always been a 4K sensor. It's just a question of when they were going to do the firmware update to allow it to be used. And obviously that's all being timed in with this, which I think's about March.
Right.
April. I think it's probably around about NAB time.
Gotcha. So by sort of, let's say around about NAB, and they release this system you purchase, you stick it on the back, you're going to get 4K RAW out of your FS700.
Yeah, you just got to do the firmware update.
Yeah.
So it's nice for us. I mean, that recorder is exactly the same that goes on the back of an F5.
Right.
It's exactly the same recorder.
Yeah.
It's just the F5 actually outputs. It doesn't need the interface. But it's exactly the same recorder as you'd use with an F5.
Gotcha.
But the advantage for a lot of people, we know quite a lot of people who have bought FS700s, and you know, this is another step to go to, and you've got to kind of decide, is it worth it for me? Can I commercially justify the cost? Which really is where we're about with things. You know, we're talking to 1-2-man bands that actually have to earn a living, you know, doing those corporate shoots. And so, is it actually worth it for them? Are they going to be able to justify the cost of it? You know, this is a good option for them to be able to try it and see.
Yeah, but if they've got an FS700 and they're shooting quite happily with it, and then at some point when this is released, they've got a 4K job they've been asked to do. They can say, right, I'll just hire it from you guys.
And if they find they start getting more work, they can then buy it. But that's the nice thing about it. It is modular. I know what people are going to say. Well, hold on a moment. Then I've got to use a rig because I've got to put this on the back of here. Look. The price of this compared to an F5 is quite discernibly different.
Yes.
And, you know, the reality is, yes, this isn't an F5. An F5 is an incredibly nice camera. But for the people who've got an FS700, this is an incredibly good option. It's nice to see both the manufacturers giving people an option out there. And from a hard point of view, you know, we're still talking under £10,000 for that camera, and so, you know, we can transfer that into a reasonable rental rate. And again, with these, they're not extremely expensive, and so again we can try and give it to someone at an affordable rate, so at least they can try it without having to delve into the really expensive stuff. So it's quite interesting. It's going to be an interesting year.
Yeah, I mean, all these things are starting to come out this year. It's always an interesting year, isn't it? It's always something you think that's it, it's climax, shall we say, but no, sure enough, next year new stuff coming out again, isn't there? And
yeah, well, you know, the funny thing is, I mean, I know talking to literally last BV North and bumping into you at NAB when we started talking about the BMC cameras and them. I mean, we've now started to get them through. But God, it's been a long time coming.
It has.
And it's interesting people actually finally getting their hands on them and trying them, because that is a camera you really need to get your hands on to play with it.
Brilliant.
So yeah, it's really interesting times, and I think the next year is going to be quite interesting in terms of where we see the camcorders going, and you know, we're starting to see full frame camcorders appear, albeit in a consumer form with the VG900. It was a start, long way to go yet, but it's shown that we are going somewhere with them, and wow, I mean, that's going to be amazing as well. I mean, at our end of the market, having that kind of possibility at the budgets we're talking about, it's going to be interesting. We'll be sitting here nattering next year about it.
We could go on forever. I'm being told we're running out of time, so I'm going to kick you off and say, Guy, thank you very much for coming on the show. And it's always brilliant.
I'll go and drop them back before they all start getting upset.
Before they notice they're gone. In the meantime, Guy, thank you very much for coming on. I'll take that for you. I'll just pretend and hide that the 1DC and pretend it hasn't been taken away, but it's there. Let me pass this over to Guy, so it's on the right side so we can squeeze off. Thank you very much, Guy. Much appreciated, mate. Well, that's it for this show. Just to let you know, coming up, when are we? I'm going to need to have some feed. That's it. Coming up 9th of May is the Broadcast Show Tour. And you can see details. The website link is below me here. Come on, here we go. 1, 2, 3. It's up. I'll take it. It's up. Okay. Okay, there we go. You can register at that link. It's broadcastshow.com/tour, I think is what it's saying. And we will be in on the 9th of May in Glasgow, and then Manchester the following week, then Cardiff, down to Bristol, and then London. And there's going to be lots to see, lots to do. We're going to have speakers. We're going to have people with kit that you can have a play with, and I'll probably be roaming around with cameras and things. Who knows? But go and have a look at the website. I'm just going to check, is the registration process open on that now? It's all open. You can register to go and see that. Definitely worth going to have a look. Well, that is it. We are coming to the end of this show. I am shortly going to go and fall asleep because I've been walking around, have a drink and something to sort out my throat. Stay tuned, though, because coming up is, what are we calling it again? The Only Way is Excel, hosted by Heather and Sarah. They will be here momentarily, and then they're going to dash off, and you can follow them as they walk around the show floor for the last hour of BVE today. In the meantime, thank you very much for watching. I will catch you. We'll be live again from 10 a.m. approximately tomorrow. So tune in, just leave it running all day. We'll be here. Thank you very much.